Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Ali and I'm a junior doctor working in Cambridge, and this is one of the various videos in the 50,000 subscribers Q&A series where about 120 of you sent in various questions that I'm attempting to categorize and answering in a series of videos. So in the last video we talked about questions that related to life advice, that, you know, favorite quotes and like how to manage time and productivity and motivation and all that sort of stuff. So that'll be linked somewhere. In this video, I'm going to be talking about two things. Firstly, I'm going to be answering all the sort of personal questions that you guys asked. And secondly, I'm going to be answering questions that relate to what life is like as a junior doctor, because I've been doing it for about like 2 weeks now. As always, everything's going to be linked in timestamps in the description below. So this is probably going to be quite a long and rambly video. So, you know, if you don't want to watch all of it or you don't have time, then by all means, just click to the question that interests you most from the description. But now let's just jump into it and let's start with all the personal stuff, and then we'll talk about the junior doctor stuff a bit later on. Alright, so let's just jump into it. Question number 1 comes from Shalini Kumar, who says, how does it feel to leave the world of formal education and move on to adulthood? I feel it's kind of like having a birthday where people are like, oh, how does it feel to be 18 now? How does it feel to be 21 now? And you always reply with, oh, it doesn't really feel any different to yesterday. And that's kind of what this transition has been like. I think if I'd gone straight from university undergrad to working a job, that would have been a big transition. But because we had 3 years of uni undergrad and 3 years of clinical school, we're kind of semi-working in hospitals and now actually working in a hospital, it feels like a very natural sort of transition. And because I'm in Cambridge and loads of my friends are staying here and I'm living with one of my bestest friends ever, who's also living in the house, I mean, it feels like it feels like a progression rather than like a clean break, if that makes sense. All right, question number 2 comes from Wissal HHH, who asks, what are your next goals in life now that you finished uni? It's just real life begins now, doesn't it? So one of the goals is to be a good doctor. One of the goals is to become financially independent, i.e. not have to work to make money to live and just kind of live off passive income from various other income generating activities. One of the goals is to take a few years out at some point for medicine and do various things. One of the goals is to continue to grow the YouTube channel, continue to make hopefully useful videos. So there's lots of little mini goals. I don't really have one underlying overarching mission yet, but maybe at some point that'll happen. Okay, question 3 comes from Awkward Nerdy Guy, who says, how do you see yourself 5 years down the line? And also from Ihsani Elf Dali, who says basically the same question. And it's really hard to answer the 5 year down the line question because life changes so much. Like, I only started this YouTube channel a year ago, and now it features in all of my kind of future plans. And equally in second year, when I started my company for the first time and started kind of running this business, that then started featuring in all my life plans. So I don't really know what's going to happen in 5 years' time, but I'm hoping that I'll do F1 and F2, so the first 2 years of being a junior doctor, and then maybe take a little bit of time out to, I don't know, explore, maybe do some tech stuff, maybe do some more video stuff. We'll see. It could really go anywhere, and I'm quite excited for the journey, really. All right, 3 different people asked, what places would you like to visit in the near future? What's your next holiday destination? If you could live anywhere except England, where would it be? I don't know really. Like, I'm not really a massive fan of traveling per se. Like, maybe I'm doing it wrong, but it's kind of fun, especially when you go with like a group of friends that you really like and you have a good time. But I feel like if we'd stayed in Cambridge and just gone for a walk down to the local park and, you know, spent that unstructured time together, I think that would have been equally fun. So I'm not really kind of explore lots of different places sort of person. But having said that, I do kind of want to do that thing where you go to Southeast Asia for a bit or South America for a bit and kind of work on your online businesses while kind of taking tango lessons or, like, you know, getting loads of massages on the side. I think that would be like a fun thing to do for a little while. So Southeast Asia probably, or South America. Never been to South America. I think it would be quite cool. Okay, so Sri Deshna says, do you have a girlfriend? Did you have a girlfriend in medical school? I do at the moment. I'm not sure when this video is going to be out as to whether that's still going to be true. That's a joke. And we met about 6 months ago, or we got together about 6 months ago. So that was kind of in the middle of medical school. Okay, next question comes from Ruan Feichas, I think. If you had the chance to go back in time and change something, what would you change? Probably nothing, because butterfly effect, you know, where you change something in the past, it changes everything in the future and then bad things happen, so probably wouldn't want to do that. Rob Ives says, what would you have studied if not medicine? In fact, about 5 or 6 different people asked, what would you have studied if not medicine, and where would you have gone if not Cambridge? So if I didn't study medicine, I would have done computer science. I was almost going to apply to computer science, but then I decided that even though I really enjoyed computers and coding and that sort of stuff, I feel like I would have enjoyed it more as a hobby rather than as a job. And I'm quite proud of myself for this, but I had the foresight, you know, 10 years ago when I was, not 10 years ago, like 7 years ago when I was thinking of what to apply, I kind of had the foresight in my head that, okay, if I continue to do coding and stuff and become a legit like programmer, but I'm a doctor at the same time, I think that's more marketable, more interesting than someone who's just a programmer or someone who's just a doctor. So I thought that if I applied for medicine, I'd be able to combine these two fields to do interesting things, and that has sort of worked out nicely so far. And if I didn't go to Cambridge, I don't know, I had an offer from Imperial, so I might have gone there. Do you wish you ever went somewhere else? No, I absolutely love being in Cambridge. I probably want to live here forever. It's absolutely the best. And yeah. All right, moving on swiftly. ZYNP something says, were you born in the UK or just immigrated? Just immigrated? No, I was born in Pakistan in 1994 and then lived there for about 2 years. Then moved to Southern Africa, a country called Lesotho, lived there for about 5 years. Then moved back to Pakistan for a year while my mum was doing the PLAB, which is the exam that international people have to take to get into medicine in the UK. So we lived in Pakistan for another year between like ages 6 and 7 or something like that. And then we moved to the UK finally in 2003 once my mum got a job as a psychiatrist working in the NHS, and been in the UK since 2003. So it's been about 15 years now, which is pretty cool. Next question is, I expired account. What type of medical student were you in your preclinical years? Were you just as enthusiastic as you are now? Oh, thank you. What sort of personal development have you seen within yourself these last 6 years? I think every year I've kind of become more, I don't know really. Like at the start I was quite enthusiastic. I was all about this whole like making friends thing, and because I was quite like low energy in school, I thought when I got to university I wanted to try and kind of put myself out there a bit more, and I think I'm really glad to have done that, and I've kind of been doing that every year since. So that's pretty I guess that's what I've been doing for the last 6 years. And what sort of personal development have you seen? I guess like developing my confidence. I now feel almost zero anxiety about stuff like public speaking and like asking questions and answering questions in class and stuff like that. Stuff that I would have had an issue with back in the day. So I think confidence is the main thing that has developed within myself. Probably a bit more self-awareness as well. I don't know. Okay, Arinam Cullen says, have you had any major setbacks in your medical journey so far, and how have you dealt with those? To be honest, I haven't really had any major setbacks. I've been very fortunate. Praise the Lord for not having any setbacks at all, really. I mean, I've been rejected from a few things. I applied to go to Harvard for a year, got rejected. Applied to the academic foundation program, got rejected. But I wouldn't really call these setbacks. It's just been, you know, you try a lot of things, you apply for lots of things. And there's that quote that's like, if you, like, where you just take lots of shots and some of them are going to land and some of them aren't. But either way, you're still playing the game. Or something profound like that. I can't quite remember the quote, but I wouldn't really say I've had any setbacks, so yeah. MKDH says, is your favorite movie still Enchanted? I think Enchanted is dropped down a bit. My favorite movie is still probably The Dark Knight. Second favorite is probably Tangled. Enchanted is still quite high up there. Mahmoud bin BN says, what's your favorite book? I would have always said Harry Potter, and I suppose Harry Potter is still top of the list, but recently I've fallen in love with the Kingkiller Chronicles by Patrick Rothfuss, so The Name of the Wind and The Wise Man's Fear, and I've been listening to those on Audible. Speaking of, there's going to be a link to my affiliate link for Audible in the description below, so if you sign up for a free trial, I make a few quid, so please sign up to a free trial of Audible, and it's actually really good. I subscribe every month, you pay like 7 quid and you just listen to audiobooks, and it's an amazing way to pass the time. And Nada Bukamar says, do you remain subscribed to the religion you were born into, and if so, have you ever questioned it or considered leaving it? I thought about this. I thought about answering this. I don't really want to go into chat about religion because I get that when you have kind of a platform like I seem to have had, then you like the stuff you say can influence people, and I don't really want my thoughts on religion to influence anyone because I haven't really looked enough into it to feel qualified to comment on it, and it's such a big deal and it's all tied up with family and everything else that to make any kind of comment about religion would probably potentially cause more consequences than it's really worth. So I'm gonna leave that aside. Maybe at some point we'll talk about it when I've read more and researched more. Cool. So that brings us to the end of the personal questions. Thank God. I'm not really a big fan of talking about myself. But now we can talk about life as a junior doctor. So the first question comes from JRod1291. He says, how many more years of schooling do you have left? What do you want to specialize in? So I've left medical school now, and I think I want to specialize in obstetrics and gynecology. And actually about 6 other people asked, what do you want to specialize in? So at the moment, obstetrics and gynecology that was my favorite placement in medical school, and I think that's what I want to do, but I'm more than open to changing my mind on that front. Anonymous says, would you say that doctors have an easy life after university, or is it still stressful? I'm not a fan of this word stressful. I think everyone overuses the word stressful too much. Life as a medical student, for me at least, wasn't particularly stressful, but I think whether something is stressful or not depends more on how you deal with stress and how you cope with it personally, rather than what the thing is objectively like. But yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't say doctors have an easy life after university. Easy is probably not the word any doctor would use to describe it, but you know, some of them would describe it as stressful, some of them would say it's not that bad. I think it really varies depending on what you are like as a person. Okay, do doctors get free time during the day? Yeah, you get breaks. So you're supposed to, for every 4 hours that you work, you're supposed to have a half-an-hour break. So if you're working an 8-hour shift, which is a standard day, you have like an hour break, technically, for lunch or whatever. If you work a 12-hour shift, you're supposed to have your hour lunch break and then another half-an-hour break at some point. And also, it's like, some days there's just stuff to do like all the time, but a lot of the time you have a little bit of downtime, you have a bit of banter with your work colleagues in the doctor's office, whatever. So there is a bit of spare time throughout the day. Is the salary of a doctor decent, or has it gone down because of what has happened with the NHS? Salary is pretty decent, like an F1. Me and most of my friends are earning between about 30,000 and 34,000 a year, pre-tax. So yeah, that's pretty decent, but again, it depends how you define decent. It's not as much money as you'd make working in the city, but you know, that's not really what we signed up for. Cool, next question. How was your first day as a junior doctor? How's life as a junior doctor? How do you find FY1 from various people? First day, I think I've done a vlog about this. I don't know if it's going to be uploaded yet, or if that'll happen in a few days or weeks, but I have done one about this, so that'll more fully answer what was life like in the first day. But the TLDR of it is just, it was busy, but it was kind of fun. I didn't really know what I was doing. I probably made quite a lot of mistakes, but it's all like a learning experience, and the colleagues were really nice and everyone seemed quite supportive. So overall it was busy, but it was fun. Any challenges and stuff you think would be important for upcoming doctors? Yeah, there's loads of challenges. You know, sometimes you have a busy workload, sometimes you have issues with work colleagues, sometimes, you know, you need to be nice to patients even though they're not being that nice to you. There's loads of various challenges, but it's all the kind of stuff that we get trained at in medical school, and if not, then it's the kind of stuff you screw up the first time you try it, and then you learn from that. So I don't really see the challenges of being a doctor as something that I need to overly concern myself with. And finally, if there was one thing that would make you quit being a doctor, what would it be? Asked by Anonymous. If there's one thing that made me quit being a doctor, it would be if I didn't ultimately enjoy it. I think with any kind of job, you can't really like have, it's never going to be like flowers and roses 100% of the time. There's always going to be bits of it that you don't enjoy. I've been running my own business for the last 5 years now, and there are so many bits of it that I really don't enjoy, even though running your own business is seen as this holy grail of, oh, that's the dream. You want to be an entrepreneur, you want to run your own business because it's more fun. And it is fun, but there's also a lot of admin and a lot of pointless stuff that you do ultimately have to do. So I think if overall I'm ever at the point where for an extended period of time, like weeks or months, probably months, I'm thinking that, right, I'm really not enjoying my job and there's nothing I can do to change that, and there's nothing within myself that I can do to make myself enjoy it more, then that would be the time where I would consider quitting. Because thankfully I do have other options other than medicine. I've got this YouTube channel now, I've been running my business, I do tech and design and coding on the side. So I've got all these various things that I could be doing instead of being a doctor day to day. So a lot of people aren't in that position, and I'm really fortunate to be in that position. So my thing of quitting being a doctor would only ever be if I find it not enjoyable anymore, or not rewarding anymore, something like that. So that brings us to the end of this Q&A. We've talked about a few personal things, talked about like life of a junior doctor. I don't think there have been that many important takeaways. This has been fairly rambly, but hey, it's a Q&A celebrating 50,000 subscribers. So thank you very much if you subscribe to this channel. If you haven't, there's still time. You can click the link down below. Subscribe button over there somewhere, over there. Yeah, so thank you very much for watching. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please consider doing so. Have a lovely day, and I will see you in the next video. Good night.